The woman who promised a black angel. My people, come close, let me tell you a story that will hold your heart like a hand, and refuse to let it go until the last word is spoken. There was once a young woman called Amaka. She was 28 years old, her face was soft, her heart was kind, and her smile could heal wounds, but her life was full of pain and tears. She wore her simple wrapper and blouse every day, and walked with humility. She loved people, she respected everyone, but her life was covered with shame. She married Okeke, a man of 40 years. Okeke was strong and proud. He tied his red wrapper around his waist, he placed his red cap on his head, and he walked with the dignity of an elder. When Amaka first entered his home, the compound was filled with joy. People danced, people sang, and they said, "At last, Okeke has found a good wife." Amaka cooked for him, she washed his clothes, she swept the compound, she poured water for him to wash his hands, she honored his family, she bowed before elders, and they all praised her. They called her the jewel of the home. But time is a river that does not wait for anyone. Soon the days became months, and the months became years, and still Amaka's womb was silent. No cry of a baby. No little feet running on the floor. No voice calling her mother. At first, Okeke was patient. He touched her shoulder and told her it would be well. But after 3 years, the whispers began. Women in the village laughed behind her back. Some shouted to her face. They said, "Amaka is a dry tree. What use is a woman without a child?" Even her own family, who once carried her high, now turned their faces from her. Amaka's nights were full of tears. She knelt on the floor, she prayed, she cried, she lifted her hands to heaven, but the silence of her womb remained. She stopped going to meetings because the insults were too heavy. She walked in the market and people mocked her. Children even threw stones and sang songs of shame. Okeke's heart became bitter. He stopped calling her sweet names. His eyes grew cold. He began to sleep in another room. Sometimes he shouted at her, saying, "You are the reason my name will not continue." Amaka would kneel before him, crying, saying, "Forgive me, my husband," but his heart was already far. One night, when the moon was bright and the world was quiet, Amaka went outside. She sat under the old mango tree behind her hut. She placed her face in her hands and wept. She wept like the river. She wept until her voice became a whisper. She cried out, "Why me? Why did the gods make me barren? What have I done?" Then something happened. A strange wind blew, though the night was calm. The leaves of the mango tree danced, though there was no storm. And before her appeared a small child. But this was no ordinary child. His skin was blacker than midnight. His eyes shone like fire. His smile was strange. His presence was heavy, yet gentle. Amaka trembled. She wanted to run, but her legs refused to move. The child spoke. His voice was calm and deep. He said, "Woman, do not be afraid. I have come to help you. I will open your womb. You will carry a son. But listen well. You must promise me, when the time comes, you will give him back to me." Amaka's tears flowed more. She looked at the child. She said, "Please, I have suffered enough. People mock me every day. My heart is broken. Give me a son. Let me have joy, even for a short time. I promise anything. Only take away my shame." The child nodded his head and vanished into the air, and Amaka felt a warmth in her body. That night, she slept with a smile on her face. Not long after, her belly began to grow. People were shocked. They asked, "How did this happen?" Okeke's eyes brightened again. His heart returned to her. He began to call her jewel again. Her enemies swallowed their words. Her family came with gifts. Even the women who mocked her before now came singing. 9 months passed, and Amaka gave birth to a son. She held him in her arms, and her laughter shook the sky. She named him Chibuzo, meaning God has opened the way. Her husband danced around the compound. He gave a feast. Goats were slaughtered. Drums were beaten. The whole village rejoiced. life became sweet. Amaka walked proudly with her son tied to her back. His laughter filled her days with music. He grew strong, he grew tall, he was her world, her hope, her crown of joy. Everyone respected her again. Her heart healed. But, my children, the river of time never forgets its path. The black child had not forgotten the promise. Many years passed. Chibuzo was now a fine boy, with bright eyes and a strong spirit. One evening, as the sun was setting, Amaka saw him again, standing at the edge of her compound. The mysterious child, black as the night, his eyes burning, his voice calm. He said, "Woman, do you remember the promise you made when your arms were empty? Now the time has come. Give me back the boy." Amaka's heart broke into pieces. She fell on her knees. She cried. She held the feet of the angel. She said, "Please, do not take him. He is my only son. He is my only joy. Let me die instead, but do not take him." The angel only shook his head and said, "A promise is a bond. You cannot break it." That night, Amaka screamed until her voice broke. She clutched her son, but in the morning, he was gone. The angel had taken him. No one in the village saw the angel. All they saw was Amaka, rolling on the ground, her arms empty, her face full of ashes, her cry filling the air like thunder. Her husband, Okeke, turned cold again. He walked away from her. The village began to whisper. They said, "Surely this woman used charms to have a child. Now the gods have taken their price." Even her family rejected her again. Amaka's life became a shadow. She walked with empty eyes. She stopped eating. She stopped laughing. Her heart was a grave that carried her own soul inside it. One night, she lay down, her tears soaking her wrapper. She whispered, my child, my only child." And she gave her last breath, and joined the ancestors. Her story, my children, is not just about joy, but also about pain. It teaches us never to make a promise we cannot keep. It teaches us that what comes from the dark may not stay with us forever. That is the story of Amaka, the woman who promised the black angel.